What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. As I talked about in last week's video of pull ups, they've been quite trash over honestly 8 weeks now, and today was a little bit of an improvement. Even though I didn't manage to get the 5 reps with 25 kg that I wanted, I was only 1 rep away, and being at 98 kg and being able to almost PR, that is still quite good, I would say. I probably cannot do the 42.5 for one right now, as I've done about like 12 weeks, something like that ago now. But that's okay because it's really hard to improve at everything at once. And I think a lot of people make this mistake of thinking that you can improve at squats, deadlifts, bench, overhead press, etc., 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 all at once. But the more advanced you get, the harder it becomes to constantly develop so many capabilities simultaneously. Now, for the back off sets, I was supposed to do 3 sets of 5 with 7.5 kg. I mean, 3 sets of 7 with 7.5 kg. I took it down to 5 kg and managed to get just 2 sets of 7 and 1 set of 6. So I'm not really that disappointed because even last week, just getting 3 sets of 7 with body weight was extremely hard after the top set. So I'd say it was a good improvement, and I still had no pain in my arms or anything, in my elbows, in my forearms, in my upper arms. So taking those weeks off from any pulling stuff has considerably helped me. So that is a really, really good thing because it's one of the most annoying things you can have when there's just pain whenever you do something that involves gripping around something, because it can even begin to bother you when you are squatting, for example. Now, the overhead press for today was extremely good. I've been thinking a lot about what I should do to open up my shoulders and my back and things like that, because my shoulders, they are quite flexible. I mean, they're not that tight compared to how much muscle I have, because I can easily do the handstands with a good line. It's just mainly the extension that I need when I'm getting down in the bottom of the squat, and when I need to extend the back as well, and especially the lower back. So I thought about what is the actual things, like if you split it up, those are the two things that you need. You need shoulder extension and you need the ability to extend your back. So how can I train that? And I thought, well, if I do some dislocates and I do some hanging cobras, then I'm gonna first with the dislocates open up my shoulders, and then with the hanging cobras, I'm gonna extend my back. So in between every set, I did that from every set from like set after set 2 and until set 5. So I did that 4 times or so overall, and I could feel it just from the first time doing it, doing those 10, 20 dislocates, and just narrowing it in more and more, that even when I went up to 50 kilos after this set, I think, or maybe I did 6 sets on this training. That might be after the next one, I felt like I could get much deeper than I've ever been able to before in the overhead squat, and I was keeping a much better position in the bottom. My shoulder were much more opened. So I'm probably going to invest in a PVC pipe at home, and then like something around like 3 to 4 times a week, I'm gonna do 10 to 20 shoulder dislocates to get my shoulders opened up, and then I can just do some cobra, like some back extension against the wall or just on the floor, just some holds. Yeah, so I'm doing just a little bit of a 5 minutes workout that is gonna help me a lot towards this one training a week when I'm doing the overhead squats. So usually I would struggle when I get up to around 50 kg, But today, the 2 sets I did with 50 kg were phenomenal. The presses, the snatch grip behind the neck presses were easy as always. But the thing that were considerably easier than usual was just being in the bottom position and feeling comfortable, having that stability where the bar was not, I was not feeling like the bar was constantly shifting forward because I couldn't open up my shoulders properly. So I'm extremely excited about that, I would say. Um, yeah, and overall, I didn't even have to make like any adjustment, any steps because of that when I were in the bottom. You can see I'm able to just sit down there, and one of the other things it also allowed me to is actually keeping my heels down on the floor while going extremely deep and actually using my dorsiflexion. So with so many benefits about um, getting the shoulders opened up and the back opened up. And one of the points I also want to make is that maybe you're looking to buy a program or something that can help you with this, but maybe do some research instead because a lot of this stuff is extremely simple. It doesn't take a doctor's degree to figure this out, what you need biomechanically to do a movement, right? So I just looked at what is that is tight. It's probably my shoulders and it's probably my back. What are an exercise that targets the extension of my shoulders and one that targets extension of my back. And then I came up with shoulder dislocates and hanging cobras. And it's not much harder than that. I was looking at a program from Turagity, I think the pronouncement is. That was like $100, something like that. Considering buying that to get my shoulders opened up, but then I just thought, how about I just figure it out of myself and see if this works? And yeah, sure enough, was a huge difference after just one time. Then moving on to the bent hip Nordics and Nordic curls. Bent hip Nordics felt extremely good for this training. 7 reps with 5 kg was easier than last week, and then the 3 sets of 7 Nordics also felt substantially easier. I'm still not 100% satisfied with the form because I'm leading a bit with the legs as usual. So you can see my legs reach the vertical position a little bit before my back, which is because that way I'm shortening the lever. So I'm making it easier for the hamstrings by the back being a little bit, well, not as far out in front of me in the bottom position, especially. And then it might also just be a case of not having the proper glute activation or being a little bit tight in the hip flexors and not being able to extend fully. So one of the things I might look into is using a band and then just doing really, really, really slow reps where I can focus on keeping the hips open and glutes activated throughout the whole range of motion. And if I notice that when I'm doing it that way, I'm actually able to keep my hips fully opened and do it with the form that I really, really want to have when doing Nordics. Then I'm going to stick with that for a couple of weeks and lower the assistance until I can do the same with just body weight, and eventually I will begin to speed up the movement to doing it like I'm doing it here with full power on the way up and not 100% control on the way down. 20th training I did single arm pull downs, got a really really nasty lat pump. I did I did one set of 11 in the single arm pull downs with full stack, and then 3 sets of 5, where the only rest in between were the time it took for the other arm to finish the reps. So that was phenomenal. Really, really good PR in the first set, and then just a huge pump. So overall a really decent training. Figured out a lot of stuff that I've been struggling with. Got the pull up a little bit back on track. So I'm happy about that. And I'll see you all for the next one. I'm out.